handsome man. Z had a patient who was a pleasure for the eyes to see, handsome. He was very quarrelsome and hostile, and after a while the nurses began to look at him. Ron looked up boredly when he mentioned that all people have the patience of a saint. Z, that is, the patient was complaining about his nurse and criticizing her. The handsome patient liked to hurt Z and attack her as a result of his language. Control it in several ways. The patient was forced to stay in the hospital for a long period due to some complications that resulted from his illness. One night, Z was returning from her vacation and she went to the hotel. Before the beginning of her lips. After washing her hands, she looked in the mirror and, under the bathroom lights, the bright one, she saw her patient's handsome face reflected clearly in the mirror, which was hung in front of her. He was smiling so hard as if he was teasing her. She looked around gently and slowly to embarrass him, but she was astonished when she did not find one woman found herself alone in the spacious bathroom. She thought he was sick. He was playing a prank on her, but she was shocked when she heard that her patient had died. He died the night before. For several weeks after that day, she did not dare Z means looking at any mirror, especially at night. Story 2 on the other side of the curtain. D was a nurse recently transferred to the emergency department in a hospital. Build. It was busy most of the time, but on that fateful night it was things are going smoothly, the patients are calm, and everything seems fine. D was examining one of the patients who was asleep when she felt the hair on the back of her head stands up. She felt someone standing right next to her, but outside the curtain. She looked slowly but did not find anyone, and she attributed this to her imagination. After a few minutes. A little while ago, near another bed, I felt the same thing. A strange creeping feeling. She was paralyzed and the hair on her head stood up again. She again felt the presence of something strange standing near her, and she saw a shadow on the A curtain a few centimeters away from it. You couldn't see his shoes. This person. I clearly heard a loud laugh, then this shadow disappeared and I felt there was a strange feeling of relief after which she was able to breathe normally later. Other nurses shared similar stories of feeling the presence of someone he watches them, but the feeling was not as strong as it was with D. Story 3 Rocking Chair Nurse. L worked in a huge hospital in one of the suburbs that was established since World War I. There has been a room used for emergencies only when the department is full of patients. A patient was sleeping in this room and was complaining about seeing a nurse sitting in a rocking chair in late night hours. According to their story, the nurse did not look at them at all, but she rocked silently in her chair while watching the area outside the area. You will recover from the window. Some expected it to be a nurse who worked in the hospital during the heat. B and the window she was looking from was overlooking a cemetery. You are located in the hospital garden. L did not believe those stories, but they. One night, all the beds in the ward were occupied, and they admit a young patient to that very room. When she passed by the patient in the morning, she noticed that her appearance was indicative of because she didn't sleep last night. After emphasizing the questions, the young woman told her, "That nurse, the elderly woman in my room, was very unhappy. She was shaking. And the night fell by my side." Story 4 Stay on the Wall. B was a nurse taking care of a patient in his last days. During her stay up late, he seemed clearly disturbed, and B tried to calm him down and reassure him. Their attempts succeeded at first, but it relapsed again and became a hotbed. More than before. The patient was not able to speak, so he did not be understood what was going on. She left the door open while she was in a hurry. And when I went to the nursing counter and left through the patient's room door, she accidentally looked behind her and was shocked to see a black shadow that could not be seen. The eye misses and swings as if it is threatening something in front of the trembling patient. That thing disappeared after a few moments and, the patient died that same night. Story May 5th God have mercy on you. S is a young nurse who works the night shift in a very old nursing home. One night, while she was at work, I changed the sheets and heard a sniffling sound. I clearly heard the word, "May God have mercy on you," from the right side, just behind her when she was in the empty laundry room. Gah! Although she remained calm, she did not pray. Her ears rang and she began to pray in a loud voice when the same voice came back to them. In a clearer voice this time, "Our Father is in heaven." S did not enter the laundry room alone after that day and stayed for a reason. Clearly, Im is talking to herself. Story 6: The Sweetness of the Soul. Have you heard about the sweetness of the soul? M was a nurse in a nursing home, and one of her favorite patients was a village a sign of death. When the patient was still strong and calm, she went on her wheelchair to the small garden of the house that was located next to the church. The old lady loved to tell stories. Long ago, from the days of her youth, when the nurse used to accompany her and listen to her stories. That night, M was sitting, feeling that the end of her patient was very near. She was shocked when her patient sat down and asked for a cup of water. She continued to say that she was hungry, and the nurses were astonished at her awakening. Surprise! And give her a light meal. The lady asked for her favorite food. She ate voraciously. Later, she sat down and they returned to their gathering room. The nurses were resting, as they sat quietly for a few minutes while M think at the possibility of what happened. Her patient looked at her and said, "I'm tired." "Oh, M. I want to lie down now." M helped her to lie down and the next morning she was dead, the oldest nurse at the house said. Later they went through experiences a precedent in the past where patients who were going through their last days sometimes they experience a sudden awakening hours just before they die.